Over the past few years, I have tracked every single purchase I ever made. The most important step when you decide to start budgeting is figuring out how much you're spending each month. Tracking expenses is essential for taking control of your finances. Every month is going to look different and it always varies from person to person. Knowing your spending habits and predicting your financial monthly needs is a lot easier than it sounds, so I'm going to show you exactly how I do it. Welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited to talk about what I consider to be the first step to financial freedom. You definitely want a better picture of where your money is going so you can adjust and decide where you'd like it to go instead. When I first decided I wanted to get on top of my finances, I had no idea where to start. I was making up numbers and totally failing at predicting how much I'd need for each category. I'd give myself way too little for food and I'd get frustrated by going over budget, and then I would just throw the whole budget out. I was completely missing the first step of budgeting, tracking expenses. So why is it important? I like to know my spending tendencies and I like to be more conscious with my spending. So being more aware of where my money is being used has prevented me from making dumb purchases that I regret later. And tracking expenses is a way better method than trial and error budgeting. This has allowed me to stay on top of my budget and continue to be motivated to save money. Luckily, we live in a time where technology can do most of the work for us. There are plenty of apps and spreadsheets that make the process incredibly simple. So I'm going to share the way that I keep track of all my expenses and how I have tracked every single purchase I ever made for years now, so that I can create a reasonable plan for myself. My website of choice when it comes to tracking spending is Mint. Mint tracks everything automatically when you link your bank accounts, and a lot of people prefer to do it the old-fashioned way by manually entering each purchase. There's like lots of apps where you can just literally go in and write, like, today I spent $6.58 on an egg sandwich, but I'm not the kind of person that has time for that. I don't have the patience and the will to do that. So if that's your jam and you love to write down each and everything that you buy, by all means do that. You can use all kinds of apps and websites to assist with manual tracking. But for those of us who just aren't that put together, Mint does the trick. Except of course with cash purchases, but we're gonna get to that later. I highly recommend this site, especially if you have steady, predictable income. You can do almost everything with Mint: set your budget, create savings goals, and it will let you know if you go over budget and make suggestions to how you budget for the next month. For me, however, it's not completely ideal because my income is so sporadic and unpredictable, and it changes monthly, and it's just really hard to keep track. So I found success in creating my own spreadsheet and then using Mint as an additional tool for my budget. So I'm going to show you just how I do that step by step. If you'd like to learn more about my budgeting as a freelance artist and how exactly I manage to save and pace my spending on my opera singer wages, leave me a comment and I will work on a video about how I budget as an opera singer. And while you're down there, don't forget to click subscribe and turn on notifications so you can keep up with all that I'm up to on my financial journey. When you're setting up an account with Mint, which is completely free, by the way, you start by entering your information. You just link your bank account and it tracks all of your expenses for you. Then you can choose from different categories like groceries, restaurants, fast food, auto insurance, gas and fuel, literally everything you can think of. And you just kind of predict what you spend each month and you put that in and make a budget for yourself. And throughout the whole month, Mint will document how much you've paid and then separate those purchases into the categories for you. So it won't always be perfectly organized. You might have to go in and change a few things. For example, sometimes it labels my purchase at a restaurant as an entertainment purchase, so I have to go in and manually change that, but it's usually not too bad. Once I've checked out those categories on Mint and corrected all of them, I take it back to my own personal spreadsheet for the month and I fill that out. So I have a specialized printable budget on my website, fabonadime.net, that I've designed specifically for opera singers. So if you're interested in printing that out for yourself, go check it out, and I've of course put the link in the description below. I designed it specifically for opera singers and freelance artists, but it can work on literally any income. At the end of every month, I take my personalized spreadsheet and I fill in what Mint has already done for me, and then I include any of my cash purchases for the month. So lately I've been using a cash envelope for takeout, fast food, and all of that. So what I do is I allow myself a certain amount of cash every month for that specific category. Whatever is left at the end of the month, I subtract from the beginning amount, the amount that I started with, and then I add that information to my spreadsheet, in addition to everything that Mint has put out for me as well. Now, the tricky part, the part that a lot of people forget about, is remembering holidays and other events that you'll be spending depending on the month. Obviously, this includes December holidays like Christmas, but don't forget spending on a Halloween costume in October or your best friend's birthday present in February. So each month is completely different, and that's why I like to use my own spreadsheet to allow for those special categories. So Mint is a tool, but it's not the whole story. But also, if you've been tracking your spending for over a year, you can always go back and see what you've spent on previous holidays or trips to get a better idea of what to include in your budget. For example, if you took a summer road trip last year and you're taking a similar one this year, you can go back and see how much you allowed yourself for travel, so you can predict and make specific choices regarding your spending. Everyone spends their money differently, and until you know your own spending habits well, you're not going to be able to budget wisely. What do you prioritize, and where can you cut back? At the end of every month, when I look at the numbers, I make adjustments for the next month accordingly. So that's what keeps me going. Budgets are meant to be adjusted, and you're not going to get it right every single time. It's a process, and it's always an adventure. This is literally it. It is incredibly easy, but so very necessary to the process of becoming more financially responsible. You'll be surprised what you're overspending on and what's not as bad as you thought. You simply cannot successfully budget without this step, and I hope this video made it a little bit easier for you to get started. Remember that starting is the hardest part, and it only gets easier from there. Please like this video if you enjoyed, and remember to subscribe for more ways to keep budgeting fun. I'll see you in the next video.